Good morning. I thought I'd take a few minutes today and show you our pantry. Just a real quick look before we kind of go through it in depth. Our house was built in the 1920s, and so this was originally the fruit cellar of the home where they kept all their canned goods and things of that nature. Obviously, it did not look like this when we bought the house. My husband had recycled a whole bunch of lumber and rebuilt this for me to make it more usable. So kind of shelf by shelf. What I have here is I have our condiments, salad dressing, some homemade barbecue sauce, ketchup, mustard, tartar sauce, and things of that nature. We also keep a thermometer in here. We're monitoring the temperature of the pantry throughout the year just to see kind of where it's at so we can optimize the space for fresh food storage from our garden. We also have, of course, some chips and French's onions and stuff. And then up on the top shelf here, I keep a container full of dry soup mix. I'll just reach up and grab one here so you can see. So this one happens to be Sagino's Mama's Minestrone soup and stuff. I love using these soup mixes in my crock pot. I've adapted the instructions for my crock pot and I use them almost every Sunday. So it cooks dinner while we're at church. Some ramen noodles are stacked up there. And then on the next shelf here we have some more staples. Peanut butter, Nutella, honey. I don't have a lot of commercial jam. I do a lot of it myself, but somebody gave us that jar, so it's there. Our mayonnaise, A1 steak sauce, Lee Perrins, and then some of our specialty odds and ends. And then we have our chow mein noodles for when we have Chinese, and then as you can see my croutons are dwindling, and so we have those there. The next shelf we use to store all of our juices. Usually this shelf is literally full with a few bottles set on the floor, and then some real lemon juice. I use a lot of vinegar to clean my house, and so I like to keep quite a few gallons of it available at all times. And so that's the first wall of the pantry. The next section we built specifically to meet the needs of my canning jars, more specifically the vegetables. Since I had the room on the top, I've stored our health and beauty supplies. I buy it when it's on sale and try to stock up a little bit so that we always have something on hand that we need. Each of these shelves that my husband built can hold just over 50 jars of canned food in the quart size and a little bit more in the pint size. So there's our canned vegetables, and then here's our home canned bread and butter pickles. The fact that winter is over halfway over, my supplies are getting a lot less. Originally these shelves were really full. Here's some canned beans that we buy to cook with. I just don't have room in my commercial food area to store those. Homemade dill pickles are here, and then homemade spaghetti sauce fills that whole shelf, and then homemade tomato soup is right there. And then the rest of this section here holds bottled water. We do go through quite a bit of bottled water, and so we always like to have some on hand. This next section here holds all of my fruit, jams, jellies, preserves, syrups, things that I usually buy the fruit from the Amish that are local here. They have them brought in through different Mennonite and Amish farmers from down south, and so I can get it at a reasonable rate and go ahead and process it as I need to. None of these shelves are labeled, I'm sure you've noticed, and that's because I need them to be flexible and fluid based on what I manage to store from year to year. And then on the floor here we have a crate that holds all of our different potatoes and stuff. Now this third section also contains fruits, but these are more of the whole fruits, things like applesauce, our pears, peaches, some homemade pumpkin, and some commercial pumpkin. And then down at the bottom is another crate, and that's where I store all of my onions. So far this has worked really, really well, and I've been just tickled pink with it. This next section is mostly my baking section and long-term storage. So starting with the top shelf, you can see in the corner there I have some containers, one of which is empty, that I store different beans and bean soups. In the red bin is some barley, my oils. Behind the peanut oil are a few jars of olive oil, which you can see there. Baking things, seeds, nuts, actually fill these two containers. And then my stock of iced tea. I can see when somebody got iced tea last time, they kind of made a mess of my stack here. And then in the corner are just some singles for in the summer to keep the kids a variety of things to drink besides water, which they tend to get a little bored with. And then in this corner here, I have my cornbread mixes, my onion soup mixes. We don't eat a whole lot of pork, but I do like the breading on chicken and fish, so I do stock up on that. Some quick cooking barley opposed to the raw barley that's up above, breadcrumbs, some more herbal teas, and then behind that you can see is cornstarch and baking soda, baking powder, my yeast, raisins, dry milk, powdered sugar, brown sugar, and then in the back corner there's some Crisco. Continuing to the next shelf, I do stock up on whole wheat flour as well as all-purpose flour and bread flour. I do a lot of homemade bread and baking and stuff, so I like to keep plenty of flour on hand. Jello, pudding, buttermilk, carnation milk, some more Parmesan cheese, some cocoa, molasses, light and dark corn syrup, and then way back in the corner is some Hershey's chocolate, which my husband really likes to have on his ice cream. And then on the last shelf here, I keep several 10-pound bags of sugar. This is what remains of a 50-pound bag of oatmeal. I buy my oatmeal from the local Amish. I can get a 50-pound bag for just over $20, and since we eat a lot of oatmeal, that works really well for our family. Then we have our coffee creamer. That box contains some backup supplies of coffee in case we run out of the beans that we grind, some cream of wheat, graham cracker crumbs, Bisquick, marshmallow cream, and then way back in the corner here is a gallon of maple syrup. And so this shelf primarily holds our baking. And then we bought these rolling carts, which actually we measured when we built the pantry shelves. So this one here holds roughly 30 pounds of oatmeal, and this one holds roughly 30 pounds of all-purpose flour. I like these because they have snap open lids, they're easy to open, and they came with these really great large scoops so that I can refill my accessible stuff. And then I like the smooth surface that it has on the handle, perfect for putting my label. So when we designed the pantry to rebuild the shelves, we purposely measured how tall those carts are so that I can get more to store my bread flour, my wheat flour, and other things. The last section here contains some of our paper products that we use. Aluminum foil parchment paper sandwich bags, gravy packets. This whole basket holds bags of brown rice, seasoning envelopes, and then the rest of our paper products, paper towels, paper plates, some plasticware and stuff for when we're entertaining. I use a lot of seasonings when cooking, and especially when canning and making pickles and stuff, and so this whole section here holds all of that. And then I have instant potatoes, some scalloped potatoes, sweet potatoes, macaroni and cheese for the kids, and then some minute rice if we're on a time constraint and I don't have time to cook the whole grain rice. We also stock up on pasta, lasagna, spaghetti, egg noodles. I like using the cavatappi noodles when I make my homemade macaroni and cheese. Then we have some elbow macaroni and some rainbow rotini. And the next section is my most of my canned goods, except for the beans that I showed you earlier. I like the Del Monte diced tomatoes that come pre-seasoned, some Alfredo sauce, pizza sauce, manwich, tomato paste, tomato sauce, and then stewed tomatoes. I use a lot of that when cooking different casseroles, and then I throw it in with the dry soups that I showed you earlier. The last shelf in this section, we kind of call this our protein shelf, and I'm sorry it's kind of hard to see because of the way the lighting is, but this is where we put our canned chicken, canned turkey, canned salmon, canned tuna. We do have some canned sausages along with baked beans, and then some canned chicken and beef stir-fry meals. And then this last section has my cream soups that, again, are cheddar cheese soups and things that I use when making casseroles. I like to use a lot of soup stock. Primarily I use this vegetable stock. I cook all of my pastas, all of my rices, all of my potatoes. Anything that has to boil for an extended time, I like to cook it in some kind of a flavorful stock just to get a little bit more, I guess, taste to it. Then, of course, our bouillon cubes, which are critical for crock-pot cooking, and then a few boxes of stovetop stuffing. There's still plenty of space on the floor. I do keep a stool here so that I can more easily reach the things that are up above. And then I buy the really big packs of toilet paper. With 6 kids, we do use a lot of toilet paper. And so that's my pantry. We do stock this primarily for long-term storage, and then as I need things, I go quote-unquote shopping in my own pantry to get whatever I need to make meals for the week or a couple weeks and stuff like this. I generally shop only once a month, and so this does enable me to take advantage of deals and buy things in bulk quantities. And then, so I hope this is helpful, and that somebody else that's thinking about fitting out a basement pantry that's a room within itself can have some ideas. Thanks.